So as we are discussing in the last class, the asset return development using quality by design approach. So we have thought that this week we will see once again this design of experiments with one practical example what we seen in the class. That is this popcorn experiment. If you one could recall back, so I think half of the people which they were there in the before closing the college last 2 weeks who are there, they may be knowing this completely because we have did one experiment each on factorial design, one experiment each on Boxman or central composite design, and you can able to validate the results with the published results, and you can able to interpret. And this class is especially for those who didn't come to to this class, or they didn't do practicals on this theory part. For them it may be very useful. If you could recall back once again, the type of DO is of two types. One is factorial designs, another one is response surface designs. The factorial designs are the simple designs. The difference between these two is you don't have any central point here. In factorial design, we didn't consider any central points. Within the response surface methodology, we have considered the central points as well as the axial points. That is the difference. And one could recall back if you have three factors. If you have three factors, and if you take factorial design, if you take central composite design, if you take Boxman design, we will get different number of trials, a different number of batches to do the experiments, a different number of formulations. For the factorial designs, we'll get 8 number of experiments with the 3 factors. Similarly, for the case of central composite design, we'll get 20 experiments. For the Boxman design, we'll get 17 experiments. So why there is a variation between these three for the same number of factors also we have seen, because this is as such consideration of the 8 cubic points. Here 8 cubic points plus 6 experiments with the central points to see the error. Then a cube having 6 faces, so 6 alpha points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, if you take Boxman design, it is completely unique than these two. Here it is a mix of all the experiments with the central point. Let us say if you consider one central point, the remaining become 2 to the power 2 factorial design, like 2 minus, 2 plus, plus minus, minus plus. Similarly for others, if you take the center one, the second factor at the central point, remaining become the 2 to the power 2, and you have to do 5 experiments. Somebody's mic is on, please mute it. Yeah. And remaining 5 experiments will be doing with the central points. So with this we have seen one working example, what exactly the DO is, how it is useful, what is the meaning of optimization, how we can get the better results with that is the predetermined results, the pre-specified results while doing the design of experiments. So I have taken example of a popcorn preparation using 2 to the power 2, that is 2 levels minus and plus, and 3 factorial design. It's a simple factorial design. This is neither a central composite design nor a Boxman design. It is a simple factorial design. So as I said in the introduction, when you pop a corn, everything is not going to be popped like this. That some part of the corn going to be not popped and they become something like this called bullets. These are called bullets. The remaining is popped. It may be 10%, 5% or whatever. So now before doing a factorial design, or before conducting a design of experiments approach, one should consider what is the problem behind formation of this kind of bullets. So what is the process parameters, what is the material attributes related to the popcorn which is causing the bullet formation has to be considered. So that is called as pre-literature search or patent search have to be done, and based upon some preliminary experiments, here they came to conclusion the brand of popcorn, the time of cooking in the oven, and the microwave power setting are the three factors which is causing the taste as well as the bullets, causing the responses such as taste and the bullets for the food, that is popcorn. So this here nothing but I'm just here what I'll do is these experiments I'll correlate with acid return. So one, if you could correlate, these are nothing but critical material attributes, critical material attributes, and critical process parameters. These are nothing but critical material attributes and critical process parameters. So this is a material attribute. The brand is related to the popcorn. This is a critical material attribute. And the time of cooking and the how much power you are using for cooking is called process parameters, the critical process parameters and critical material attributes together influencing the critical quality attributes. The critical quality attributes. Nothing but the taste and number of bullets. If you could correlate this with the acetyltryptophan example, there the material attributes are particle size distribution, sodium cross carbamylase levels, MCC to lactose ratio, MCT to lactose ratio. I couldn't able to write here properly. That is MCT2. If you could recall back, there you have taken the material attributes are particle size distribution, cross carbamylase sodium, and the ratio of lactose to the other diluent which you have taken, the ratio, and the critical quality attributes which you consider in the acetyltryptophan tablet is CAD. The critical quality attributes we have discussed there is CAD, that is content uniformity, assay, dissolution, and degradation products. Is it not looking same? See, the entire concept is same. Whatever you are using, it is nothing but it is correlating the material attributes and process parameters, how much significant level, I'm using the term significant level, they were influencing the responses, also called as dependent variables, also called as effects or outcomes, also called as in QBD terminology, critical quality attributes, is the relation or design space creating between them is called design of experiments. So in this experiment, the brand, the time of cooking, microwave power setting, and the two responses, that is taste and number of bullets, has been analyzed. So 2 to the power 3 will give you 8 experiments. So these are the 8 experiments. Okay. Now you can see what are the things we have taken. We've taken the brand and the cost, and the unit is in cost we have taken. We've taken the time of cooking in minutes. The power of cooking, for our better understanding, they have given us percentages. So the low level is cheap brand and the high level is costly brand. And the time is 4 minutes. They have used a minimum to cook, and the maximum is 6 minutes, because beyond that meat may be going to charred. And similarly, power is minimum 75 watts and maximum is 100. These are the critical material attributes and critical process parameters used at different levels to produce the best popcorn, that is having maximum taste with minimum bullets. So as you know, 2 to the power 3 gives you 8 experiments. You can see the coded values and the actual values here. These are the coded values in the bracket. These are the coded values in the bracket, and what are the written outside the bracket are called the actual values. We could able to correlate with the table what you had run before for the 3 different kinds of DOE experiments. You can see this batch is all minus levels, right? This batch is at all positive levels. That means you're taking highest concentrations or highest levels. Then all other possible combinations as they're here. So like this 8 experiments we got it. So first time what they did is they taken the costly popcorn, they cooked for 4 minutes, they used power at 75% or whatever the units it is. And what they did is the popcorn which has been prepared during using this batch was given to some population sitting in front of them, maybe 100 people, 200 people. Then they asked to rate it how much you like. Out of 100%, how much you vote them. So they said for this batch, we like 75%, it is good. Out of 100%, they tasted good. And when they calculated out of 100, 3.5 ounce. See, since this textbook is written from the US, they're writing in ounces and usually write as grams. 3.5 ounces of bullets has been formed using this trial. Similarly, in the second experiment, what they did, they taken the cheap popcorn, they have cooked for highest minute, that is 6, with minimum voltage. Then they given once again to the population. They told 71% is good, like Flipkart ratings out of 5, 4 I'll give, out of 5, 3 I'll give, like that. Out of 100, 71% liked it, and it formed 1.6. like that it keep on goes for the 8 experiments. So they did like that 8 experiments, and these values, remember, these values we should give to DOE, because these values we are inputting already, and DOE will give 8 experiments. But these values you have to do and give to the DOE. So these are called as independent variables since they are not depending with each other. These are called as dependent variables since they are depending on independent variables. These are also called as critical quality attribute or whatever it is. So now the next step is cause, the overall effect on the causes. So what they do is, using a formula, the effect is equal to sum of positive values. I'm using the term sum of positive values, you can see here, or sum of positive responses minus sum of negative responses divided by total number of terms we have taken here. I'll tell you what it is exactly. So if we could see here, yeah, this is nothing but this table we have written in the coded values. Just these are the coded values. I didn't write the actual values here to explain that what is sum of plus and minus. Now if you take the, we are calculating the overall effect of A on response y1, that is nothing but test. Now I want to see overall, what is it? This is going to be a positive effect, it is a negative effect, or if it is a positive, what is the extent of effect? So further the formula is, I have to take y responses, sum of positive responses of A, sum of positive responses, or sum of the responses of A when A is kept at positive, that is 75, 80, 77 and 32. Please look into here, 75, 80, 77, 32 divided by total terms is 4 minus sum of negative responses, remaining is negative, that is 74, 71, 81, 42. These are sum of negative. So if you see, my overall effect of A, my overall effect of A is nothing but what is the factor of the brand on the taste, that is y1, is nothing but -1, that is almost near to 0. That means it doesn't have major influence whether you are using a costly brand popcorn or cheap brand popcorn. There is no much influence on the taste. It is not influencing much. Similarly, they have also did for effect B, that is nothing but time, the same kind of experiment. So take all B at positive levels, all B at negative levels, and sum of positive minus sum of negative. They have got it. The overall effect is -20.5. So you can see its effect is, see, leave out minus or plus. We need only the value how much it is. It is not, it's not, should not be here to 0. If you see it is 20, this 20 is about -20 times. So -20 times the time is affecting material. That means as the time is increasing, we are cooking more and more on time, the taste is going to be reducing, because as you are all aware, the cooking process, when you cooked more time, unlikely the regular cookings what we did, it is going to be charred, otherwise the flavor is going to be evaporated. There are many things is going to be happen which will negatively impact the taste of the things, the taste of the popcorn. So it is influencing -20 times. And similarly, you can take power, it is influencing -17. Then the more the time you are cooking, the less the taste you are getting. So if you see the overall spread of results, it looks like A doesn't have much value on the taste and are little effect, whereas time and power having good effects. So out of A, B, C, B and C, time and power having more effect, A doesn't have any effect. So we cannot conclude just like that by seeing the numerical values, because numerical values always plays a game, because out of, like let's say 1, 2, 3, we cannot say 3 is a greater. So we have to say with some kind of scientific terminology, some kind of statistical analysis, and what extent, what significant level it is great or not. So before jumping to the conclusions, consider the effects, the interactions between them. So before just going to the statistical approach, you should also consider, is there any interactions between A and B? This example, I said in the class also, when you take a, let us say there is a different color of paints, and you take a white paint 3 drops or 2 drops, you put in the first drop yellow color and mix it, you cannot see a major difference. You take another white drop and put it some black color and a dark color, you can see some different color change. That is called an interaction. When one combines with another, if there is no major changes, that is called no interaction. When one combines with other, if you could see major changes, that is called as interaction. So here, what is the possible interactions? Could see A, B, C. The possible interactions are like AB, BC, and AC. And the overall interaction may be possible like ABC. These are the possible interaction effects, one-to-one effects. So how they calculate using this minus or plus values? You could see A and B. Minus of minus is plus. Plus of minus is minus. Minus of plus is minus. Similarly, and so on. Similarly, AC, if we see minus of minus is plus, and BC, if we see minus of minus is plus. And if you see ABC, minus of minus is plus, plus of minus is minus. So that set is minus. So like that they have did, and the responses as such they are kept in the order which they have given in the before order. Now for this also, they have calculated using the same formula, the overall effect of AB interaction, BC interaction, AC interaction, and ABC interaction. And they have found out, they come to the conclusion that out of various interactions, B and C interaction is more. As we've seen in the previous slides also, A doesn't have, the brand doesn't have any influence. But whereas B and C individually also they have more influence, and also when they interact with each other also, they have more influence on the taste, that is minus 21.6 times, followed by ABC interactions, followed by AC interaction, and finally, but not the least, ABC interaction, the overall effect on taste is minus 3.5 times. Okay, so now as I said, we need some statistical tool to categorize all these values, whether they're influencing or not influencing, because just by seeing numbers, I said before, we cannot say just like that one is interacting or another one is not interacting. So what is the statistical tool possible is half normality plot, which you already know about the normality plot or the probability plot. So what is the probability is the chances of getting a result. So if you see, when you plot a toss, when you plot a coin, you are having two chances. One is getting a head, another one is getting a toss or a tail, head and tail, right? So here the probability is 50%. Here the probability is 50%. Similar here also, out of 100, the probability is 50%. Since it is having only two sides or two terms or two factors or whatever it is. But here in our case, we are having a 7 different combinations. Starts from A, B, C, AB, BC, AC, and ABC. So now I want to know, out of the 7 factors, how many factors are really influencing, how many factors are really not influencing. It may be interaction or whatever it is. So, but as you know, all statistics starts with an hypothetical concept, hypothesis. So what we say is how we can start is, let us say all these 7 factors are 100%. Now each factor having 14.28% of chance it will influence the taste. So that is what the concept of head and tail is. We don't know head will come or toss will come, but we are saying each having 50% chances, because 100 divided by 2 chances. 100 divided by 2 chances, that is each 50. Similarly here 100 divided by 7, since we are having 7, so each effect have 14.28% probability on response taste. So what I have did is, so what we have to do is, in order to segregate the significant and non-significant factors, you make them in an ascending order from least value to highest value without bothering the minus or plus signatures. So 0 0.5, 1, 3.5, 6, 17.0, 20.5, 21.5. These are the overall efforts, nothing but these are not any new values. These are the overall efforts which you calculated before using sum of plus and sum of minus formulas. Now let us consider, as I said before, each factor having 14.28% probability to taste. You forget about this column, will come to later. So each factor having 14.2% probability that it may influence my response. But we have did one calculation called cumulative dissolution release. So what they do is you have keep on added one followed by next, one followed by next, and so on, right? That is what here, that's why we written cumulative full probability. If you write without cumulative full probability, without cumulative, if you just write full probability, these are all the values, nothing but 14.28, 14.28, 14.28 like that. Since it is cumulative, we are just adding 14.28 plus another 14.28, nothing but 28.56. 28.56, if we add another 14.28, it is 42.28, and so on, it is increasing. And finally, since 7 factors we are considering as each 14.28, and all 7 factors contribute to 100%. Right? So if we add sum up, it will get 100%. At the end, it becomes 100%. Now, half of this is nothing but half cumulative probability. Half of this is nothing but half cumulative. 14.28 divided by 2 is 7.14. And 14.28 to 28.5, the midpoint is 21.43. 21.56 to 42.28 is 35.71, and so on it comes. So this is the calculation we are doing once again to recall you back to segregate the influential and non-influential or significant or not significant factors. Now, to do that, what you do is you plot a graph between absolute value of effect versus half normality or cumulative probability, whatever you got, that is x-axis and y-axis in a graph. So you will get a graph like this. This is x-axis, all the effects. Could you see the effects, right? 0, 5, 10, 15, and we are plotting wherever this value locates, 5, 1, 3.5. So where is 5, 1, 3.5? So here is the 5, 3.5, and so on, the values. These are the values which you got for the individual factors. Yes, 3.5, 10, then the final last value is nothing but somewhere around 21.5. So here you can see somewhere around 21.5. Now try to plot a straight line. Try to plot a straight line by trying to adjoining the number of factors whichever is possible. Now, what are the factors which is not falling on this line are called as significant factors. These are called as significant factors. And which is falling on this line are called as non-significant factors, are also called as unimportant factors. So half normality plots basically helpful to segregate the significant versus non-significant factors. These are the significant factors since it is falling aside the curve, and these are the non-significant factors. Now, if you could able to correlate, we have also seen the overall effect B, C, and BC as per the numerical also, it is influencing more. You could see here B, C, and BC, right? But we need on checkpoint at what point I can cut off. Let us say this is cut off. I can just like that as a layman, I cannot make a cutoff here. So I need some statistical tool. For that half normality plot I have used to make that differentiation between the significant and insignificant factors. So from that charts only one, we can also draw the Pareto charts. So you can see Pareto charts is nothing but we are writing this in a descending order. These factors you are writing in a descending order. So BC, B, C, AC, AB, and so on. So this is as per the Pareto chart, only 20% of the factors are the main responsible for the responses. Remaining factors may not influence much on the responses. That is called Pareto charts. 20% of the factors are responsible for the 80% of the results.